What's good, family? Kevin Orris here, bringing you another interview in the Primal Polarity series. Excited for this one. I'm bringing on my past client and dear sister, Ali Light, is going to be speaking about sex, love, and dating here in 2022 and how you can be really successful cultivating your masculine feminine dynamics and living your best life, creating the relationship and the intimacy of your dreams. So I'm going to bring her on camera here. Sacred Muse Tantra. So if you're joining live, type in the comments what you are grateful for. And there it is. We did it.
We made it.
What's good, Ali?
This deep breath settling in. Yes. Can I do us a little welcome chime?
Please.
All right. And by the power invested in the technology gods, we are here. Yes.
Yes, we are here. How are you this evening?
I had a fabulous day. It's 10:30 where I'm at nighttime. So I'm coming back feeling very nurtured and lavished. Spend day with community on the water, grounding in some powerful intentions with this new moon. So this is like the continuation of anchoring in the new earth lifestyle. And here we are.
Yeah, beautiful. Here we are.
Yeah.
So, Ali, for people that don't know what you do or what you're about, would you introduce yourself to the good people?
Yes. Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Ali Light, and I consider myself a sacred and conscious life mentor. I also go by Alea Moon, which is my tantric artist identity. And my passion is about intimacy, connections, and conscious sexuality. I love to bring sacredness into the bedroom and into all other aspects of our lives, including our finances, our relationships, our businesses. And so I am a muse and inspiration to myself and my own path. And Kevin and I are really on the journey of conscious relating and exploring what does that mean in this new era where we are all with this new level of consciousness. This is first time we've ever been in this place, and so we all are figuring it out as we go through our own experiences. And so I'm really grateful to be learning from Kevin and witnessing his journey. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, Ali was in my mastermind in 2020, which was wild. And also you came out to Costa Rica for the in-person mastermind last year, which was amazing. And was so grateful to have you and just watching you bloom in your business and your teachings over the years. And it's been an amazing journey for all of us that were in that container together. And Ali, let's just jump right in. You know, what is conscious dating or relationships look like for you in 2022? Like, what is the landscape, both in your personal life and also with your client work?
Yeah, so for me, it's really coming down to my values and what I really stand for, and meeting individuals who are also in that same level of looking at life. It's a lot about asking the right questions and getting to know the individual within few dates without having to waste too much time, without, getting to the important things early on. Conscious dating to me now has been exploration of my dynamics, whether I'm more into the monogamous space or polyamorous space, and can we have it all? And what can that look like? And what was the question as far as the work?
Well, you answered it, but specifically, like, this is a great question around number of dates. Like, a lot of people, and I was asking this in our group, the Polarity Dojo, a lot of people don't want to have sex on the first date anymore because they just had so many casual relationships that didn't work. And I'm curious, from your perspective as the feminine, what do you feel like? Is it 1 to 3 dates, or what does that look like? What would you advise someone who's dating right now?
How many days before we have sex?
Yeah, or like, what's that conversation or container look like?
Yes. Well, first of all, get clear. What do you want? Are you looking for something simple and casual, or are you looking to actually build depth and intimacy and connection? And then also understanding that sexual energy tends to connect us to other individual on deep emotional, psychological levels. And so if the individual with whom you're engaging does not have the same values, who does not want to support your vision, who doesn't understand what your needs and desires are, then that sexual relationship can turn toxic and actually create attachments that you don't really need, because those people are not really in alignment for your highest truth, right? And so sacred sexuality is about really practicing intentionality about with whom we're connecting. And so in conscious dating, this is the tricky part, and I'm dealing with a lot of the Madonna whore complex. It's like women, we just can't get it right. You do it too soon, you're a whore. If you wait too long, you're a prude. Like, what's the right way, right? And so I think for every woman, it's her individual choice, and for men to also step into their understanding of not judging, because if she wanted to have sex on a first date, then so did you. So no double standards there, right? And so for me, emotional safety has been a really important value when it comes to my intimacy. I feel if I cannot feel comfortable with the individual afterwards, if we don't have a comfortable aftercare and just kind of closing off of container, if there is like wobbly energy, I don't know where we stand, are you gonna call me? Like, that emotional like check-in, that to me needs to be present. And however long it takes us to get there depends on the person that I'm dating.
Well said, well said. Another question that I know has come up a lot for folks is who should pay? What's your opinion on that? Who should pay on the first date, second date, third date?
Yes. So I'm going to answer this two ways. One way is the Russian way, because I'm from Russia. We're very Slavic roots into the strong primal energy. The Russian way is that man pays. However, because this is new consciousness, as a woman on the first date, I offer. Would you like to split this? Or I like to leave a tip. I like to ask to leave a tip. I always leave a nice tip. So if he pays for the bills, I'll leave a nice tip. So in that moment, I feel it's good to inquire. But as a woman, you get to witness whether or not he's ready to be in a state of provision. Because if he accepts half of your credit card, you're paying half the rent, my love. So.
Yeah, well said, well said. And this is fascinating. There's a lot of Russians and expats here in Bali, and this is like a big urban legend in the community. All these Russian women here, a lot of these American or Western men dating them, and a lot of them expect the man to pay, even to pay for rent if they enter a relationship. And that a lot of people here think that's weird, or like they think it's entitled, etc. And from a primal feminine perspective, you want to be provided for, which is actually the most natural thing in the world. And so I think a lot of people have some navigating to do around that. My next question, Ali, is when do you decide whether the relationship is going to be something a little more serious, right? Maybe you've been dating, you've been to bed, it's 3, 5, 6 dates in. In your opinion, A, who should lead the conversation to escalate the container, and B, from the feminine perspective, how do you want that to feel?
To be honest, I feel like I have not been in the feeling of that space in a long time. Yeah, I have not had that. In my experience with dating, the struggle is that I'm the one leading. I'm the one starting the conversations, and I'm the one who's bringing in. To answer the question, number one is get clear about your intentions and desires. Again, is your intention to have a casual one-night stand? Is your intention to go with the flow, and see how it goes? Are you okay with that? Or is your intention to actually bond and navigate life together, and do you have shared visions? I think the first 1 to 5 dates should really be intentional. And what I actually enjoy doing, this is what I do with my couples work. I bring in question cards. Like I have 4 different decks with different questions on them, and they're just like really nice, juicy conversation starters to open up topics that are like really important. Like, what is your stand on finances? What is your stand on religion? How is your relationship with your family? Like those things that will help to kind of help you form like where this individual stands. And for me as a woman, when I'm listening to a man, how I'm seeing it is, can I can I fit into this man's frame?
Right.
Like, so the first few sessions, like, I feel like a woman who knows what she wants in a way will interrogate the man with love and presence into finding out if she can fit into his frame of lifestyle. And also, this is a space for the man to notice what woman are you with and can you handle her in your frame, right? So this is all intentional dating. And as much as I love sexuality and jumping in it quickly, like it's fun, right? It's primal. But when you get into the sex a little early, it cuts you off from actually like looking at the bigger picture and sometimes the red flags, because the hormones are flowing and you're just turned on and it's fresh and it's exciting. You miss the red flags. And then red flags turn into 6 months to a year to 2 to 3, and you're with the wrong person. And this is something that I think if we just go to dating with a little more intentionality, that can be avoided.
Well said. Some wisdom drops here. So from a feminine perspective, because I know so many women ask this question all the time, what do you do when you feel like he can't handle you, or you're too much, or he's intimidated by your power? I get asked this probably at least 3 to 5 times a day now on social media. What's the move there if you're a really powerful woman that has a lot of energy?
Yeah. So it literally happened to me a couple of days ago. I was on a date with a man who was very excited to see me. And then on the way to the date, there was just very like limited conversation. And I felt like I had to ask. If I didn't ask, this space felt uncomfortable. And so I would fill the space with my questions while so hard trying not to, because I'm like conscious of me doing it. And so at dinner time, I told him how I felt. And I was like, listen, like, if you don't want to build a connection, then why are we here? Because you're wasting my time right now. I straight up told him this. I was like, if you don't want to tell me, like, who are you? What are your intentions with me? Like, I can go home and have this dinner by myself. And I told him it like felt anxious in my heart because I felt this like tightness. I told him how like in the body, like I was like, you need to fill the space more. And so he tucked in his thing, put away his phone, he like set up, and then I felt it. And then I could like lean back into the chair, and he like took my hand, and I was like, okay, now you're holding the freaking space, you know? And a lot of men just, they don't understand what that means, right? And I'm curious for you to share with men, like, what does it mean for you to hold space for your woman?
Yeah, I love that you bring this up. And, you know, a lot of men, I mean, to speak to the other side just quickly, a lot of men, especially in the conscious community, they just want everything to be equal. Yeah, I'm just here to go with the flow. Like, you can do whatever you want. You know, let's play, let's talk, you know, and then maybe let's have a relationship that's sexual. And what most women, you know, most women out there are some women that operate in their masculine pole, and that's okay. But most women want to be led. They want to feel cherished and open and soft so they can be contained. And that doesn't mean controlled. It just means, like you said, you can sit back and just signal your desire, share your heart, share your feelings. And as the man, you have to take that responsibility, right? So that means you need to lead, you need to have a plan, you need to have direction, which you can't do unless you're leading yourself. So you said it earlier. You want to fit into a man's frame, right? His structure, his psychology, his heart, his direction, his purpose. And this goes, you know, from the first impression, like you said. Who's asking the questions on the date? Does he want to get to know you? Does he want to open you up?
Exactly.
And you feel safe to do that. So that's the main thing for men listening. You need to make her feel safe. And there's many ways to do that. Provision is part of that. Not just financial, but emotional, psychological provision. Are you leading the questions? Are you asking to get to know her? And are you really deeply listening and attuning to where she's at in that moment? And so, Ali, like, I know a lot of women struggle receiving, struggle surrendering. What are some of the things you would tell women that maybe haven't, like you said, felt safe to open up to a man or to feel, you know, loved and surrendered in that way?
Yeah. So for me personally, this surrender and receptivity has been coming through my relationship with God, with universe, with cosmos. I've decided to surrender in relationship to life. And so for me, God, universe is the masculine that penetrates me. And so in the practices with my own meditation, my own white tantra, and the conscious self-pleasure, like I will allow God to pour into me. And that comes with my success in my business, creativity in my writing, attraction of manifestation of things that I need. And I feel how God is here with me. And so what I started doing is also looking at every man that comes into my life as this is God. This is an incarnation of God. And so for me as a woman, learning to, first of all, trust myself, because I'm not going to put my trust into another man. Like, I need to feel comfortable in my own essence. And then being curious and seeing how does God express itself through this man specifically. And this is why I like to lead conversations, because I don't like small talk, and I like to go to the juice of who you are. And you know, that's also kind of like me as a teacher coming through on my dates that I'm working on. But just learning to trust that if this is a man that's in front of you, how can you see God in him? And in that I get to kind of surrender and in my curiosity explore who he is. But still take no shit. I'm not taking shit. I'm seeing you, but like, I see you, you know.
Right. Well said. This is a huge part of the tantric path, right? Is the owning of your divine force, but also you have to submit or surrender to that. And it works for the masculine as well. It's like, if you're not, you know, in submission to your mission, right, to God, to the divine, whatever you relate to, you know, you can't lead a woman, right? So a woman's not going to surrender to a man who's not surrendered to God, right? And you're both surrendering to God, but the masculine can align to it in a different way than the feminine does, and they're perfectly symbiotic. And this is the inner union you have to do between your masculine and feminine, and then you want to bring it to the outer union with a man and a woman. And this is really beautiful. Ali, for people that have been divorced or have gone through a big breakup, I know a lot of people have been coming to me over the past few months sharing about this. You know, what would you tell, especially for the feminine beings, you know, how do you build trust again? Or maybe you haven't been dating in a long time. Like, how do you get started? Like, how do you break the seal?
Are we talking like when there's been betrayal or hurt, or in which space?
Yeah, or just not getting their needs met, right? At least.
Yeah. I think for every woman, it's important to, first of all, understand what are your needs, right? We all have different things that we desires. And most of us are not very clear because we never really had a chance to sit down and figure out who and what we love, because early on, women are so eager to get into relationships that we don't really check in with what is really showing up. And we get kind of swept into these situationships that tend to last a little long, right? And so trusting yourself, you know, trusting that you are divine and that you know what you want, and that God will bring you the right man. But also knowing, what do you need to do, and are you ready to meet this man? Because a lot of women are not ready to meet this man. And even if this man shows up in front of you, if you haven't done your work to clearly see the vision, you wouldn't even never notice him. Because in your mind, you might have made this like idea what it's supposed to be like. But God has a plan for you, right? Can you surrender to it? And meanwhile, learning to trust yourself. Take care of your finances, grow your business, don't be codependent, go see a therapist, find sisterhood. I find that sisterhood and community is so important for both men and women, to have this space of release, because you can't do that in your relationship. Your partner should not be your therapist. You know, maybe sometimes when you need support, but in general, you really want to process these things with your brothers or with your sisters, right? So it's a new way of being human. And I feel like we all go through these initiations of doing our own healing work, of figuring out who we are, what we are, and really becoming authentic. Because if you're not authentic on who you are and you're still pretending to be liked, to be a certain way, then your partner will manifest that and will feed you into continuing to believe that this is who you are. But in the energy of pretending, and like with a lot of clients that I'm dealing with, they don't want to express their desires to their wives because they're afraid, there's shame, there's guilt. You know, they think it's for protection, but really, no, it's not. It's a selfish act of you not being in your truth, right? And so we are right now, I'm feeling, are restructuring how we're looking at life, how we're looking at love and relationships and brotherhood, sisterhood. and the values for what people are moving into relationships for is changing. Back in the day, you know, it's like if you were not married before 16, like you were a lost cause.
Right.
You know, by 18, you had like 5 kids, you know, and so now we get a chance to mature. We get a chance to get into our 30s to really lay beautiful foundation of who we are so that we can attract a person who will reflect that. And if you
Yeah.
haven't, then you will attract a person who's still going to trigger and poke at you until you figure it out.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's a journey, and I feel so proud for you. And I feel like, you know, you went through your initiations with getting to such a like authentic expression of your truth that, like, of course you've met your beloved. You guys match each other's foundation.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey, and I'm so grateful for my partner now. And yeah, putting in the work and finding out what you don't want in relationships is part of the journey, and you have to do that in connection. You can't do it alone or in a void. And you really spoke to the biggest piece that I see a lot of people that struggle with relationships also struggle with brotherhood and sisterhood. So you need the village. You're not meant to do this alone. We're social beings that evolve in tribe, not solo and not codependent just with one partner. So that's kind of like the number one message. If you don't have a tribe and sisterhood for the women out there, start there and then move in the direction of like calling in your king, etc., etc.
Yeah.
This has been amazing, Ali. I got to get going here in a sec, but
Yeah.
what can people look forward to in your world? Do you have anything coming up? Are there ways to work with you? Do you have any new exciting things that you're building?
Yes. So a lot of beautiful things are grounding in South Florida. We are bringing conscious sensuality, tantra, body work, and the artistry of healing modalities into more of the event space. So I have a new project with my friend Angie Rainbow G. We actually just started Tantric Ministry, and we're going to be anchoring temples legally into the grounds to bring sacred sexuality and temple arts and just the really wholesome way to connect with each other back onto earth. We want the temple nights back in every community, because so much of the world is disconnected through social media, through constant screen, that we want to bring tantra and sensuality so that we can connect one-on-one with touch, with our senses, to really feel the God and Goddess embodied. So that's the most exciting thing right now. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, Florida and Texas are leading the charge for community events and sovereignty in many ways. So I'm excited to visit Florida more and spend more time there because I'm such a Texan.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah, please stay
Ali,
in touch when you're here.
yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for today. I know we had to do third time's a charm, but we did it. And thank you so much, Ali. Make sure you're following her at Sacred Muse Tantra. She'll be tagged. I'll repost this. And yeah, hope you have a beautiful evening over there. Buenas noches.
Thank you so much, brother Aho. It's always a blessing to connect with you.
Big love.
Good night, everyone.